for a counterfight then.
When bodybuilders step into the cage, most expect them to gas out or get outclassed. But these monsters came to fight.
Eddie ran across the cage, and there we go! And on the single leg, trying to fight, picking one guy up, slams him down, Eddie!
From shredded tanks to powerlifting legends, these are the moments when bodybuilders took over the MMA cage. When the time world's strongest man decides to fight, you expect chaos, and Mariusz Pudzianowski delivered exactly that in his MMA debut against Marcin Nageman. Pudzianowski opened with a cheeky low kick.
Mariusz Pudzianowski, ale mocny low kick w jego wykonaniu! Kłopoty Nagemana!
Then charged like a bull on pre-workout. Seconds later, Nageman was buried under a storm of punches, and it was over almost before it began. As if one beating wasn't enough, Nageman returned, this time to face the Lithuanian beef block Robert Bernat. Bernat came out flexing, daring Nageman to stand and trade punches. He bulldozed forward like a fridge on roller skates.
Zalecałbym jednakowoż ostrożność w tym bieganiu za Nagemana.
A nie może gonić się w tym pojedynku.
Swinging haymakers loaded with every protein shake he's ever chugged.
Oj, teraz wrócił jak taran, jak ciąg, szuka swojego rywala.
I ciosy jeden za drugim. I te 130 kg wepchnęło Nagemana.
By round 2, Bernat landed a thundering right hand and sealed the deal with ground and pound.
Pierwsze zawodowe zwycięstwo, koniec, było poddanie, hardkorowi koksu, MMA!
Senegalese wrestlers are built different, raw power, granite physiques, and Umar Kane is a prime example. In April 2021, he stepped into the circle against Patrick Schmid at One Championship. Kane opened like a wrecking ball.
Swiss, big uppercut, right cross uppercuts again from Rug, house on fire here in the first round, and Schmid's in trouble.
Schmid barely had time to blink before he was dragged to the canvas, and from there, it was pure demolition.
Schmid not defending his position, Michael. And it's over. Rug goes 2-0. Who can stop this behemoth?
You can't talk jacked fighters without mentioning the horse meat-fueled monster Aleksandar Overeem. In this one, he faced Japanese veteran Kazuki Poida, who circled nervously, unsure if he even wanted to be in there.
Aleksandar is just a beast, just a monster.
But just a minute in, Overeem uncorked a devastating left knee.
On the outside, Aleksandar controlling center. That's it! Good night, Irene! I told you the knees!
And Poida crumpled like a folding chair. Todd Duffy was just another name on Overeem's growing hit list, and this one ended in under 20 seconds.
And Duffy tries to back him up with a curling right. Gut-wrenching knee from the ring, he tags him, it's over. Good night, Irene! Overeem is a dreaming through.
At a bizarre crossover event, strongman Eddie Hall took on the pint-sized Nefati brothers in what looked more like a WWE sideshow than a fight. The twins darted around like hyperactive kittens.
Then when they, oh, he goes, oh! Big shot that's missed. Yeah, he's looking down at the face, but he can't catch the knee though.
At the same time, but it's not always easy. The wreck is having to run now, and Eddie doing whatever he can.
Until Hall grabbed one like a sack of potatoes and slammed him into the canvas.
Speed that Eddie ran across the cage, and there we go! And on the single leg, trying to fight, picking one guy up, slams him down, Eddie Hall! The right hand land for Eddie Hall!
The other tried to strike back, but ended up with his jaw crushed like a can under a bulldozer.
Bam! Right hand sends him to dreamland.
Alan Ingalani, built like a Marvel character, stepped in against Igor Sabora. Ingalani opened fire with nasty left kicks.
Like pulling it all the way back from Hong Kong. Ooh, that was a nice body shot right there. That hurt him.
So huge that he's getting really hurt. In come the punches.
Letting loose fists like jackhammers.
Left hooks to the body. Oh, big punches to the face.
Oh, that was
big
a big right hand.
Huge right hand.
Once it hit the ground, Ingalani pounded out the finish like a man possessed.
cut on the head. Olivia Johnson's ready to pounce. It's finished in a minute and 10 seconds.
Ivan Shnurkov stepped in against former UFC fighter Thiago Silva. The Russian stormed in like a predator locked on its prey. Once Silva was softened up, Shnurkov dragged him to the mat. And there, it was a short-lived nightmare for the Brazilian. With nowhere to go, Silva had no choice but to tap out. Melvin Manov doesn't play mind games, and Ryu Kayamura paid the price for trying. Kawamura spent the round taunting, dancing, and trying to throw Melvin off rhythm.
40 minutes that we've had. Whoa. Well, look at this. Melvin Manov doesn't really know what to make of it, especially if he can irritate him, as you say. Never know what might develop for him.
But Manov stayed ice cold, calm, and ready to detonate.
He did it! Oh, he did it again! Big right hand. Well, he did what he did just a minute earlier.
A perfectly timed right hand shut down the circus act, followed by a hammer fist that slammed the curtain on Kawamura's performance. Fernando Rodriguez looked like he was carved out of stone, and Anthony Ria got hit like one. From the opening bell, the Brazilian charged in throwing bombs.
佐藤さん、昨日まで無名、今日からは超有名というコンセプトのトーナメントですけれども。
Rushed his opponent like a runaway truck.
左ミドル、これは強い。さらに右ミドル。
And turned him into a punching bag with a heartbeat.
はい。しかしガードごとも壊した。
UFC veteran and submission menace Rousamir stepped in against Aleksandar Ivanov at Fight Nights Global. Ivanov did his best to keep his distance and avoid the grappling trap. But it only took one slip for Palaris to drag him into deep water.
Это техническое действие Пальхара сделал просто великолепно, сдается вот так вот. 16-я победа Rousamir.
Seconds later, the heel hook was locked, and Ivanov was screaming in agony. Bob Sack is a walking tank of muscle, and somehow a man with more losses than wins. But against Russian sumo giant Alan Karyev, the beast finally showed up. Karyev came in like a freight train, crashing into Sapp and dragging him to the canvas. But Sapp muscled his way on top and dropped sledgehammer punches from Mount. And when they finally stood back up, Sapp unleashed a crushing left hand that sent Karyev straight into the void. These were the moments when bodybuilders took over the MMA cage. If you liked the video, hit the subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.